For several years, Hudson Valley Community Services has participated in the expanded Syringe Access Programme as authorised by the State of New York throughout our 7 county regions: Dutchess, Orange, Sullivan, Ulster, Rockland, Putnam and Westchester. The programme promotes the distribution of ESAP vouchers to people in need of sterile syringes and more specifically to people who inject drugs. The voucher can be exchanged for a package of 10 sterile syringes at participating pharmacies. There are no enrolment requirements for participants, no ID cards are issued, and no prescriptions are required. The individual simply presents at the pharmacy, hands over the voucher, and receives a package of 10 syringes. HVCS prints vouchers which contain the names of participating pharmacies, including addresses and telephone numbers, for participants' use. ESAP vouchers are available at all HVCS offices and mobile units, including our syringe access programs. The ESAP program gives people access to free equipment and consequently reduces the instances of people using their syringe more than one time. In turn, this helps decreasing the likelihood of infections, illnesses and injuries caused and prevents transmission of blood-borne viruses such as HIV, Hep C and Hep B. The ESAP program also acts as a bridge gap prior to a participant accessing SEP services. ESAP works in tandem with HVCS's overall mission in providing preventative care to people at high risk. By integrating ESAP services within our programs, we have the ability to educate pharmacies and their staff about topics related to people who inject drugs, people who use drugs, and by extension, their families and people in the community. Through continued collaboration with community providers and coalitions, we are able to provide participants ESAP vouchers and services, which at times have successfully led to viable referrals for individuals to HVCS programs such as SEP, Health Hub, and HIV, Hep C, and STI testing services. From the initial point when Hudson Valley Community Services began the ESAP voucher program, there have been numerous barriers that we have had to negotiate in order to get to a point where it is now considered an acceptable way for people to obtain syringes. Although the current social climate is more accepting of programs that enable people to obtain syringes free of charge, this has not always been the case. Indeed, many of the barriers that HVCS staff had to overcome initially with the ESAP program still exist, and to some degree may always exist. However, education and prevention staff is more experienced now than at any time and is more often than not able to negotiate a path that ultimately promotes the rights of their clients to receive a service they deserve. Some of the barriers are born out of fear and ignorance, such as pharmacies, both large corporate and small independent organisations, not willing to participate in a programme that may promote what they perceive to be undesirable people coming into their stores and mingling with their valued customers. The stigma involved with allowing people who inject drugs to get services at their pharmacy creates a negative image, and for some, the risk of alienating their customers is just too great. One problem that has been reported by participants is the increased amount of times pharmacy employees ask participants for photographic identification as a prerequisite to receiving syringes. Although participants of the program must be 18 years or older, the law does not require a person to produce photographic identification. Many people who receive syringes using the ESAP program do not have photographic identification and are unfairly penalised as a result. A number of participants have informed HVCS staff that pharmacies frequently do not have the types of syringes they require in order to use safely. Indeed, a number of participants frequently report that they have been faced with the take it or leave it attitude when it comes to syringe availability. The concern regarding such instances is that participants will become disillusioned with the service and begin viewing it as a non-viable avenue for free syringes. This in turn could lead to an increase in syringe sharing or multiple uses of existing ones, and as a direct consequence, a possible increase in blood-borne viruses such as HIV, Hep C and B, as well as bacterial blood infections. ECS staff recognises these problems experienced by some of the ESAP programme participants and continues to take steps that attempt to circumvent those issues by establishing a relationship with pharmacy owners and staff that promotes a clear understanding of the principles of the ESAP programme, open dialogue, and a cooperative issue-solving relationship. One barrier that prevails for many participants within the 7 counties that HVCS provides services is limited access to pharmacies due to their geographic distance. Many participants throughout the upstate regions such as Monticello, Kingston, Poughkeepsie and Liberty have to travel long distances in order to access a pharmacy that is participating in the ESAP programme. For those who have limited or no access to a car or public transport, this is a major problem. Possible, HVCS staff takes the opportunity to, in various settings, such as street outreach, coalition meetings and awareness events, to inform community members of the principles of the ESAP programme and the benefits it can have to individuals and our communities as a whole. While most people understand and view the service positively, a small number of people in society labour under the misapprehension that the provision of free syringes leads to more people injecting drugs, an increase in overdoses, HIV and Hep C, and an uptake in the amount of paraphernalia being discarded in the streets, parking lots and green spaces throughout our towns. However, on the contrary, the ESAP programme and in a wider, broader sense, the syringe exchange programme encourages safe use by giving people syringes, equipment, sharp containers, the opportunity to be tested for HIV and Hep C, and a gateway to many other services. It has been proven that people share their equipment on less occasions, safely dispose of syringes and other equipment more readily, and use Narcan and fentanyl strips more regularly. It should be acknowledged, therefore, that the ESAP programme promotes and contributes to the safe use and disposal of more syringes and plays a role in reducing the amount of equipment on our streets, parking lots, and green spaces.
Hello everyone, I'm Cameron Coleman, Program Supervisor at Hudson Valley Community Services. You may recognize me as the program participant from our demonstration videos, and I've had the privilege of providing ESAP services with HVCS over the past 4 years. So throughout this presentation, we've described the logistics of our expanded syringe access program, explained some of the barriers that our participants face in our communities, as well as including some demonstrations acted out by our own team. So now I'd like to take this opportunity to share with you a real anonymized example of a situation that unfolded wherein our team assisted a program participant in overcoming multiple barriers to receive the necessary syringes and needle sizes. So in this story, I'll be speaking about a syringe exchange program participant, multiple SEP van locations, and multiple pharmacies. For the purposes of maintaining full anonymity, I'll be using the pseudonym John for the client, and will refer to the different SEP locations and pharmacies by location A, pharmacy A, etc. So we had a participant, John, visit our syringe exchange van at location A. John was seeking a specific size and gauge needle, which he disclosed he was picking up for his household, as he comes to the van for himself as well as for his parents. Unfortunately, location A van did not have the specific size in stock, and John, knowing the exact size he needed, did not feel comfortable settling for an alternative. We provided John with multiple ESAP vouchers to Pharmacy A in hopes that they would have a wider selection. We also reminded John where he could locate our staff, contact information in case he encountered a problem with the pharmacy. The next day, John called us to say that Pharmacy A unfortunately did not have the size that he needed. John asked if the SEP van might be at location B and if he could come receive the size needed from there. We explained to John that the SEP van at location A and B share an inventory, and this particular size was out of stock in our inventory, currently awaiting a new shipment. However, we discussed the potential of John visiting Pharmacy B, which might have a different stock than Pharmacy A. John gave me the specifics of the size, gauge, and amount needed, and I called Pharmacy B to confirm that they did in fact have what John needed in stock. John was then given the option of meeting an HVCS staff at SEP location B or at our office to receive additional vouchers for the new pharmacy. John opted to come to the office, where we met him and were able to provide him with enough ESAP vouchers to account for how many syringes he and his household would need until the SEP van received its shipment the following week. We encouraged John to call us with any problems he might have, and we were fortunate enough to receive a call back from him that same afternoon, letting us know that he was able to receive the exact needle size that he needed. John expressed such immense gratitude for our agency's flexibility, assistance, and overall willingness to meet such an essential need for him. So this story really demonstrates a real example of how even with a fully functioning syringe service program, there is still a significant need and benefit from the expanded syringe access program.
Yes, would like to extend a special thank you to Hamad Hamidi, pharmacist and owner of City Drug in Poughkeepsie, as well as all of his staff members for their continued support to all of their patrons, including the participants of the ESAP programme. Hamad is an active member of the Dutchess County's Opioid Task Force, which meets regularly at the Dutchess County Stabilisation Centre on North Road, Poughkeepsie, and is truly invested in his community. Hamad and his staff are acutely aware of the needs of those people who participate in the ESAP programme and are fully supportive. Indeed, they work closely with HVCS's SEP programme in an effort to provide ESAP participants not just with syringes, but also fit packs and educational literature related to the SEP programme and programmes throughout the Dutchess County region. HVCS are truly grateful to Hamad for allowing us access to his pharmacy and to film our short video, a gesture that really does illustrate his commitment to his community. Thank you, Hamad.